live. Woo! Welcome all. This is my podcast, Driven by Youth, with Jada Tholey. Today I am joined by Yoshira Trujillo.
Hi guys, excited to be here. Thank you, Jada, for hosting this.
Thank you for coming. I'm super excited. I met you. Well, can I call you Yoshi? Because I hear everybody say that and it's so cute.
Yes, my love, of course.
So I met her about 2 weeks ago at Rodcliffe's multifamily boot camp in Orlando, and I love her. Oh my God. I love your whole team. I love your vibe. And you were so helpful from like the first minute I met you. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to bring her on to whatever I can. Because especially, so you do the social media aspect for your multifamily team, right? So I feel like
Correct.
although you are the camera most of the time and posting about these things, I feel like those people usually get more of the behind the scenes and they don't always show their face a lot. So I'm like, okay, well, you have to start showing your face more, build your brand. So I wanted to bring you up here.
Thank you. Yeah, so just I love being behind the camera, telling the guys, hey guys, let's do this, let's say this, and just editing the videos, uploading them. That's kind of my job within the multifamily space.
Mm-hmm. So, like we said, you're in multifamily, but like, who are you? What do you do? How old are you? I don't know. Getting into this multifamily field.
Of course, of course. So, as you guys know, my name is Yoshi. I am actually 24 years old. I am based out of Orlando, Florida. I have two little girls, and I actually do multifamily and tax deeds as well.
What was the tax liens?
Tax deeds.
Tax
I
deeds.
don't really like to get into liens.
Okay. But what is it that I hadn't heard about that before?
Oh, okay. So tax deeds, it's whenever people can't pay their taxes, their house goes up to auction.
Oh,
So, for example, me, so that house is gonna be on a list 2 months, 3 months sometimes before it hits the auction, right? So then what we want to do is get the list of all those people,
mhm.
and then you're gonna start cold calling them and try to obviously get the house before it hits the auction, because then you're gonna be bidding against all these third party or hedge funds, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
And they're already losing their house, so they would rather them get a little bit of money out than nothing at all, because they know they're not gonna get anything from the county. So that's where we come in and we help these people, just give them a little something so they could go ahead and just start their new lives. So we pay the backed up taxes, and we also give them a fair amount for their house so they could go ahead and will not lose their house to auction.
I love that. Okay. So like we were talking about this previously, I'm a part of Pace More Be Sub 2 program. And the reason why I joined, because I was looking into, it was back in like 2021. I was going to school for mechanical engineering. And then I was like, okay, after like coming back to school from the pandemic and the lockdowns and learning everything online, I was like, I don't know anything. If I go out into the world and start working, I'm going to be a danger to society. So let me just see what else might be out there that interests me. And so real estate was something. And I found Pace on some podcasts, and he was saying, yeah, I buy with zero money down or no money out of my own pocket. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's really interesting. I definitely want to learn more. But the thing that sold me, why I joined his mentorship, was he was saying that he helps people get out of foreclosure, or he helps people make sure that they don't go through foreclosure, because that ruins them, ruins their credit. And as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm sold. And I signed up, I think that day.
So I personally haven't ever heard of Pace Mowry's mastermind until today that you mentioned it previously, and I was very impressed.
Yeah,
I like that.
his mentorship and his mastermind are a little different. I haven't gone to his masterminds, but the whole mentorship is just something I always recommend to people. I'm like, it'll be one of the greatest investments that anybody will ever make.
That's really good to know.
So I'm just saying. But yeah, so how did you even get into this field? Were you always like, I hear a lot of people, as soon as okay, tell me.
No, so I actually have a bachelor's degree in allied health management.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working since the age of 13. So
Wow.
then I kind of always knew. I grew up with a Hispanic mentality. I don't know if that's just a Hispanic thing, where they tell you that, hey, you gotta go to college, you gotta get a degree, and then, get married, blah, 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 work for corporate,
Mhm.
retire, take only one vacation a year. And I was just like, that's not me. I've been working my butt off since I was 13 and working two jobs when I was 15. So I would work at a doctor's office and then shoot to McDonald's until 12 o'clock at night. So
Wow.
then I kind of always figured that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
So I did get a college degree. I do have a bachelor's. But even then, I was like, and then I had my girls. So I had my girls pretty young. I have two girls. And by then, I was like, I don't want them to be with a babysitter.
Mhm.
And real estate provides me the flexibility in order for me to stay home with them while also generating money. So what really got me into real estate, I would say at the age of 18, I bought my first residential property.
Oh my
So yeah, because I started college at the age of 17, they count that towards like an income. So
God.
I was able to get, as soon as I turned 18, I was actually able to get a loan for a house. And
Wow.
I
That's
only, yeah, yeah. So I only put 3% down. So back then it was maybe like, uh, in total with closing, it was like $1,400.
oh my
For
God. What?
You don't see that nowadays.
$4,000? Oh my okay, sorry, go on. This is just
No, you're
baffling
fine.
to me, especially because I'm in
It,
California.
yeah, it was freaking crazy, and I still didn't believe it when I got the keys to the house. Um, but we kind of bought it in a rough neighborhood. Personally never had any problems, but it was also very far from like the city and stuff like that. So we actually decided to move, and within like 6 months of me getting the house, I rented it out, and I was cash flowing. I believe it was like 350, and I'm like, all right, like okay. So then obviously the rent prices here in Florida just skyrocketed. It was out of nowhere. The house prices, the rents, everything just skyrocketed.
Mhm.
So then I was cash flowing $600 a month from the same property.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, like this is I would get paid roughly 750 every 2 weeks from my W-2 job at the doctor's office. And
Mhm.
I'm like, whoa, what the heck? So
Mhm.
then eventually I didn't join a mastermind. I was just doing it on my own. I started buying lands, holding them, and then selling it at a bigger profit. But then I was doing it all wrong. I didn't know you could just wholesale the lands
Mhm.
and then obviously get an assignment fee.
Yeah.
So I messed up because I didn't have a mentor. But then this year I went all in. I was like, no, I need to get into a mastermind or something because there's no way that I'm gonna have to put my money in this and then wait a couple months to sell it because I wasn't working with a realtor either to sell the lands. So they were
Wow.
taking forever. But I'm
Wow.
like, but then whenever I would sell them, the profits would be anywhere from 10 to 15,000. So that's basically like half my year's salary on my
Mm.
W-2 job. So I don't know. That's what kind of just intrigued me with real estate. It was my first single family house that I was able to rent out and profit $600. And since I got it, it was fair. It wasn't a new house, but everything was pretty much replaced, like the roof, the AC, like the major stuff. I
Right.
never really had to go back and do any maintenance to it, so it was kind of like a win-win.
Yeah. And so, okay, so you went from buying it at 18 and then 18, 19, that's when from 18, 19 to now you've been buying land and then holding it and then selling it.
Correct.
Oh
Yes,
my
ma'am.
God.
Yes, but I recently just when was it? A few months ago, I would say at the March or I think it was May.
Mhm.
I sold that house and I actually used the money towards masterminds.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Nice. You go. That's, I think, and like the more that I'm starting to get really focused in this industry, the more that I hear people saying, like, invest in yourself, invest in your education, invest in your mentors. So, like, what kind of masterminds are, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, of course. So The first one would be multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually how I met my team. Sergio and Jonathan have a what is called a partnership, where they teach you just pretty much everything multifamily from A to Z.
Nice.
And we have just Monday coaching calls where we're able to actually like underwrite the deals live. And I guess that helped because I was researching, I was trying to do it myself. I've been doing it myself. You know, we did pretty well, but if you want to scale, you need to be able to have a team in place. You can't scale by yourself. I'm not telling you you can't. It's just gonna take a lot longer.
A lot longer.
And
Yep.
this year, like I was just like, no, I need to get off my butt and I need to get it together and just do it. And I don't know, for me, it has changed my life. The partnership.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to meet my team, and not just that, but they really pushed me to get out of my comfort zone. Really pushed me to get out of my comfort zone.
Wow.
So I pretty much gained a family in the partnership.
Ah, and how did you find them? Was it something like online or?
No, so funny story. Me and Sergio Aguilar were both at an event, and I don't remember seeing him, but the event was reposting everybody's stories, everybody's videos. So I was doing multifamily, so I was like, I need to follow all these people because they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started following everybody that got reposted. And then eventually I saw that every Tuesday he would post like links on his stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what is this about? And I was so eager to learn. I wanted to get everywhere in every call. And I asked him for the link and he sent me the link. And I just started joining every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I could be sick, you name it. I would not miss those calls because the amount of knowledge that they were giving for free, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, like not everybody's willing to do that. Like everybody wants to charge you or, oh, let's sit down and do a one-on-one and then try to sell you their mastermind. They didn't try to do that with me. So I kept joining and joining the calls every Tuesday. Eventually, we I familiarized myself with them, and I met Melly, which is their broker's relations, and we kind of connected.
Mm-hmm.
We had a call, and she was like, "Girl, there's this event in Dallas this week," and I'm like, "This weekend?" It was the call was probably maybe Wednesday, and the weekend was Friday, and I
Ah,
was like, "Yeah, it was crazy." And I was like, I don't know anybody from Dallas. Like, I never flew to Dallas. Like, I don't know anybody. But
uh-huh.
she was like, girl, buy the tickets. And she was like, you can stay with me and my mom. And I was like, what? I was like, you don't even know me. She was like, I like your vibe. She was like, just come on. She picked me up at the airport and everything. So I went to the event, and that was the first time that I met Sergio and Jonathan in person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it like I mentioned before, not everybody's willing to give you information for free. And I met Sergio and Jonathan, and they were introducing me to everybody. And I was like, whoa, like you don't do that with just anybody, you know? Because they
Yeah.
could easily steal your investors, your sponsors, and they didn't look at it like that. And I was like, I asked Serge, I was like, how much is the partnership? I want to get in. Like, I like what you guys have going on because they were so close. It's like a family. It is
Mm-hmm.
a family. I was like, sign me up, and that was on June actually. Was it
Wow.
June? Yeah, at the end of June. Yes,
This year.
this year. Yes.
Wow. Okay, wait. So was that Dallas convention or conference? Was that the Brad Sumrock one or a different one?
No, no, no. It was Michael Blanc, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was that one. So I joined the team. I started joining the Monday coaching calls as well as the Tuesdays. And I was learning a lot. I was really, really, really learning a lot. And then eventually, like, I noticed that other multifamily podcasts, they had like on their Instagram stories, not their stories, but their actual feed, like playbacks of their podcast or just announcing it. And I messaged Serge. I was like, "Hey, Serge, do we have an Instagram page?" Because I would notice that the guys would just put it on their personal page. And they
Yeah.
were like, "No, like I have too many pages to manage. I don't have the time." And I was like, "Well, we definitely should," because I was like, I was following a guy that he's really big in multifamily, and I was like, he just posted this, and it's freaking awesome, and it actually led me to go on the podcast and actually like
Ooh.
listen to the whole thing. I was like,
Yep.
you guys need to be doing it. So then that's how I actually came onto the team, and I handle the social media accounts from videos to editing to posting it. Because in order for you to, I believe, in order for you to grow in multifamily, you need to have credibility. Everybody needs to know what you're doing,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's what I do for the team.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's really what. So for me, only within the last, I would say, maybe 6 months, did I really see that impact of being online and having a presence for people to really like know you and trust you and actually want to work with you. And obviously, like joining this industry and the sub two, I would see other people do it, but I would think, okay, well, they actually know what they're doing, so I have to wait until I know what I'm doing in order to start that. Did you ever feel that, or how did you even start thinking like, well, yeah, people should know me or should know us?
So like I mentioned to you earlier before we started the call, I'm always, I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm like all in for everybody. Like, come on, guys, let's do this, let's do this. But then when it comes to myself, I'm like, I tend to retract.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you started taking it seriously the last 6 months, right? So for me, it was more of my team. My team pushes me a lot. Like sometimes I have my camera on, I mean off on our podcast, and Jonathan will text me, "Hey, turn on your camera and read the questions." I'm like, bro, and they really push me. They make me step out of my comfort zone, and that's one of the parts that I really do love my team, because it's a family. Like we push each other. If one of us is messing up, we'll be like, "Hey guys, like straighten up," or we help each other, and that's how we've been able to grow. But people know me now because of the Cash Flow Empire calls. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're Yoshi with Sergio and Jonathan. You're Yoshi because of the Cash Flow Empire," because they
Nice.
see me on all the Tuesday calls.
That's incredible. So how many people are in your team?
So we have. I gotta count this because we just added like two more.
Oh my gosh.
8.
8 people.
If you
Okay.
guys are watching this, sorry if I missed one, but I'm pretty sure it's 8. 8 of us.
Yeah, like don't mention their names so that you can just say, "Oh yeah, well I was thinking about you." Of
No, no,
course.
no. I know their names. I think it's 8.
Yeah, yeah,
8
yeah.
or yeah, 8.
Okay. And so do you all like, is there some like, okay, this is the only broker relations or this is the only acquisitions, or do some people kind of merge and do several aspects?
So we pretty much all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Thanks.
So we all kind of complement each other. For example, Sergio does asset management, Jonathan does underwriting, I do social media, Melly does brokers relations, Helen does investor relations. Jimmy, if you're watching this, I love you, bro. But Jimmy's everywhere. And, and Vic and I do marketing.
Okay. So how do you all, I mean, I know that you're saying that you guys all push each other, which I absolutely love. Now are you guys all local to each other, or is it remote? Like how do you guys work together? How do you collaborate? How do you think that you guys have like the synergy going?
So we're everywhere. Jim is in Seattle, so the time zones are crazy. Sometimes when we're finishing our podcast, which is night, he has like all this light in the background because it's like 5 o'clock over there. But no, we're pretty much everywhere. We have Jimmy in Seattle, I'm in Florida, Melly's in Virginia, and
Mm.
one in Alaska, and then the other one's in Tech, and the rest of the team is in Texas.
Oh my gosh.
We're everywhere, yes.
Dang,
But
yeah,
I
that's the country.
one of the how we pretty much kind of stay on track. It's after our Tuesday podcast, we
Mhm.
all kind of get together. We do a check in. Hey guys, like, what are we doing? What did we do? How did, for example, we go through every role.
Okay.
So all of our positions. Okay, what did we do here? How can we improve it? Did we mess up? How can we fix it? And we kind of just always push each other, and
Mhm.
we do check ins through the chat. for example, did you get to meet all of us when we were in Orlando? I know you met me, Helen, and Jonathan.
Yeah, not everybody. I've met Sergio, I've met Melissa. The other girl, I can't remember her name, with the blonde hair. Victoria, yes.
Vic.
But that's it. I haven't met Jimmy or anybody else.
Yeah, so Jimmy actually just flew in that day just to take the picture with us and flew out. So he was only there on Friday.
Oh my God, commitment. I like it.
He literally just flew in. I'm like, you're really gonna fly out? He's like, yeah, I have. He was like, I just came to say hi to you guys. I'm like, oh.
Oh my God, from Seattle all the way to Florida.
All the way to Florida.
Oh,
that's the love we have for each other, literally.
That's kind of insane. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I like that. That's, that somebody's dedicated and consistent if they're going to be doing that. Good on them.
Dang. Yeah, I love my team. We're very committed.
I love that. So, question, because this is what I've been wondering, like, how do we kind of maneuver this? So whenever there's like a conference, is it kind of your guys' team goal? Like, okay, everybody, let's go to this conference. Or is it just, is it individual? Want to go?
Okay, so we pretty much, like, for example, the Rod Creek, the one that we were just in Orlando, it was kind of like last minute. Like, I had bought my ticket, and then all of a sudden, Sergio calls me, I'm going, and then Jonathan's like, I'm going, and then Vic is like, I'm going, and then Jimmy the day before, he texts, oh, I'm going too, and I'm like, whoa, guys. It's kind of like, but yes, we always do try to attend together. If one of us can't make it, because of course, some of them do still work W-2 jobs. They have their businesses, their business owners. So sometimes it's understandable that they can't make it. But we always do try to make it together as a group.
Yeah, I like that, because I feel like then people start knowing your team and start knowing, rather than just knowing you, because if you're going to, be a part of a team, then it's just, you want the team to be known. And then through that, you'll make your own connections.
You'll be surprised, because sometimes I show up to events and they'll mention one of my team members. Yeah, because you're with so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so then going into kind of this just whole, like, how we're talking about multifamily and the real estate field and stuff, what does your day-to-day look like then? Because you were saying that you didn't want your girls to just grow up with a babysitter so that you're out all day. Do you work from home? Do you have an office that you go to, or what does that look like?
So I'm not gonna lie to you, it gets very crazy. Very crazy. I wake up at 4 or 5. I take my daughter to school. Right now I'm driving an hour to take my daughter to school.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm in a middle of a transition of moving. So then I get her situated in school. Then I get back home and I still have my little one with me. So obviously she watches TV, she gets her snack, she gets whatever toy she wants. So then I could keep her entertained, and I could work in between calling investors, or if not, calling homeowners, and stuff like that. Obviously, I take my breaks in between. Like after an hour, I take a 15-minute break with my little one, because if not, she'll go crazy. And then I sit down, I get back to work, and then at 2, I gotta pick up my daughter. And then I kind of do the same thing. We sit down, I give them their snacks and stuff, and then I get back to the computer. And it's kind of like right now they're calm, but usually sometimes on the Tuesday calls when we're hosting our podcast, I'll literally have one like right here trying to rock her to sleep. And yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Because that's my why, my girls. I'm not gonna use my girls as an excuse of not to do something. I feel like us parents, at least I used to, they'll be like, oh, I can't go to the event because of my daughters, or I can't log into the podcast because of my kids. And you know what? I had to stop that, because in order for you to get to where you are, you need to make sacrifices. So yes, it's very hard, because I do have my little girls, but they understand, because like for example, I went to the first conference in Dallas, and I got here Monday like at 4 a.m. My daughter's birthday was that day. So at 6 a.m. I was running on no sleep. I drove to Walmart, got her a cake, woke her up with a cake, and then took her to Disneyland.
Oh Oh my gosh.
Yes, and I was like a zombie walking in Disney, but I took her to Disneyland. And that's what they remember. Okay, mom took me to Disneyland. So in order for, until this day, she still remembers the name Disneyland trip. So in order for me to get to where I am, where I'm able to provide for my little girls, because it's just me and the girls. So
Yeah.
in order for me to provide for them, they know that mommy has to be in the computer. And I explain it to them. Little kids are very, very smart. If you sit down, like my daughter, like she's awake right now, and I'm like, hey baby, mommy has to log into a call. I give her all her snacks. I gave her, that's the only time she gets her iPad, because throughout the day she doesn't get it. And I was like, mommy has to go to work, because remember, if you want to go to Disney, if you want to take these trips, if you want these toys, mommy needs to be able to pay for them, and mommy needs to work. And she understands that.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much my day to day.
Oh my God, you got me emotional. Just the the dedication to, you know, providing the life, like what you said, your why. And that was going to be my next question. Like, you know, what is your why? I know that some people say, you know, there's just a lot of different things. So is it like, do you feel like the life that you had growing up, is that another driving factor of like why you want to do so well, so that maybe your children don't have to work at 13, or you know, can you go a little more into that?
Yeah. So I was actually raised by my sister. My mom and dad were never around.
Aw.
So my sister had to work 3 jobs to put food on the table.
Wow.
So it was times where she would drop us off from school to get ready to then go to college at night. And that's actually what drove me to get a degree, because I was like, I need to be somewhere in life. And, you know, in the Hispanic mentality, I'm like, okay, I need to get a degree, work for somebody, then retire, blah, 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 the status quo, right? But then once I had my girls, that changed. It changed a lot. I was like, I don't want to just take one vacation a year. I
Yeah.
don't want for my kids to be calling a babysitter mom. I don't want to just be asking, hey, can I have this day off? Or I would see whenever my sister would go to work sick as hell. And you know what? She had to do it. And sometimes, you know, she couldn't take off when we're sick. And that kind of always stood with me. I was like, no, I want to be a present parent for my daughters.
Hmm.
And another big why, it's my sister. My sister is obviously a lot older than me. She raised me. She had my custody. But I would say that besides my daughter, that's my biggest motivator. I want to be able to, you know, retire her and buy her a house, because I saw the sacrifices she made for a very young age for
Hmm.
us. You know, it wasn't easy. We did struggle. I'm not gonna lie to you, we did. But she always tried her best to make sure that we had. Sometimes she wouldn't even buy herself anything, so we could have clothes, or just like for example on Christmas stuff. And it's stuff that we take for granted as a little kid,
Hmm.
and now that I'm a mom, like I sat down with her the other day and I was just crying. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry." Because I was a very rebellious little kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little bitch when I was growing up, because I was very rebellious. I was like, you know, I didn't have my mom, I didn't have my dad, and then it was my sister, and I used to get bullied a lot because of that. So that's my why. Like I want to be able to retire my sister and buy her a house.
God.
Yeah, so my childhood, I could say it definitely turned me into. I wouldn't change it for the world. They're like, if you could go back and change how you grew up, no, I would not. I want to change it. Change it. It's made me who I am today. It's made me work really hard for the stuff. I am the first one in my family out of all my brothers and everybody that has ever bought a house in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did it at the age of 18. So that to them was like, wow.
That's just wow in general. I don't know like what the population. I should look up the statistics sometime, and I'll come back onto like Instagram and post it. But like I don't. I mean, I haven't bought a house or anything, and I'm 23. My mom, I know, before I was born, her house. She bought her first house when she was 19. So that's already like you're ahead of my family too, not just your own.
No, but you're not gonna buy a house. You're gonna buy a multifamily.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where the money's at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saving everything for. I'm like, okay, the first purchase I'm going to have, it's going to be multifamily. I can't just make it a house. Then I
So
can
let
go
me ask you this: have you gotten to a GP deal?
not yet. So that's kind of I'll say no, not yet, but I have helped get a deal to the finish line before. I mean, I'm not like the driving force behind it, but I know that I have, I've brought some capital before. I was helping with a lot of the social media stuff in regards to webinars and just a lot of stuff that goes into closing a multifamily.
That's amazing. That still counts, girl. Give yourself props. It's a
Thanks.
lot of hard work, and social media is not an easy task either. Like you said, you were hosting the webinars. That's not an easy task. That takes a lot of time.
It's a lot, and I don't know if you
It
can
is
see
a lot.
this. If you go to the right, at the top right, there's like comments, banners, and brands. If you go to comments, you can see everybody that's rooting for you. I see
Oh
Jennifer
my
says,
god, I did
yes,
not see
go
that.
girl.
Oh, Jenny's on here. Jenny's my girl.
Willie saying 18, let's go. Lars is from my team. He says 100%. I wouldn't change anything either. So I'm like, oh my God, you have so many. How cute. Your biggest fans are here.
I
Yay.
love it. Willie, shout out.
That's amazing. Jonathan as well. You have such a wonderful
Hi,
team.
John. I do. I have the best team, and I'm not just saying that because they're on this call. I genuinely did get a family in this team. Like Jenny's on, so she could. Like this morning, she shoot me a text, and I was like, "No," and she was like, "Yes," and I'm like, "No," and she was like, "Yes, let's go," and I'm like, "Fine." Like they really do push me to get out of my comfort zone. They are truly amazing.
That is amazing. Well, I wish I had more questions for you. I really was not. I mean, when we first spoke, I'm like, okay, yeah, this girl's definitely really interesting. I mean, I love you. I love your vibe and just everything about you. But I was not expecting all of that from, how you bought your first house at 18, how you started wholesaling land. You just figured it out. You didn't have anybody that was showing you that. That's insane.
YouTube University helped a lot, but it wasn't. It wasn't all that.
You. And that I'm yeah, like Jennifer says right now, she's so proud of you. I mean, if I would say the same thing, but like that is really, really just courageous and interesting for you to just, all right, I'm gonna start doing this. And oh man, there was something that I wanted to say. I can't really remember, but that's a question that I have for you. So
Yeah.
I come from a Hispanic background as well. Um, Most of my family were, or at least in my immediate family, they were like hustlers. Like my mom, when she was growing up, I know that they had like, they would sell elotes, they had an ice cream truck. When I was younger, me and my mom, when I was homeschooled, we used to just go around and sell tortas, just everywhere, and everywhere that we could do it. So it's interesting because for me, I never thought about like anything higher than that really. Like I don't I think it's also because I don't really think too far in the future all the time, or at least growing up I didn't. But for me, it just never occurred to me to like go and go into real estate. That always seemed a little too big for me. So like how was it for you? How do you manage that kind of like fear aspect, but like still moving forward on things?
It's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. We grew up. I'm not gonna lie to you. We grew up pretty poor.
Mm.
My family never started a business. So if you even tell them about starting an LLC, they'll be like, "Huh? No, we're good." Um, so it was very tough. Even till this day,
Mhm.
I still get judged.
Mm.
Um, Especially being a mom with two girls. They're like, why don't you go get a W-2 job, a more secure job, something that, and I'm like, but is it really secure? Because the day that they lay you off, where are you going to go?
True. Where are you gonna
You
live?
know, exactly. So I wouldn't say they're very encouraging when it comes to real estate
Mhm.
because the way that they see it, they're like, oh, you're always home. I'm like, yeah, I'm home, but I'm always in the freaking computer working. It's just that they just see that, okay, Yoshi's home. They don't see that Yoshi is working her butt off, that Yoshi should be working at a hospital, like she got her degree. So I do get judged a lot. I still do, and it hurts. And it's mainly, the one thing you need to get through your head is gonna be the at least for me, the people that's closest to you that are is gonna be the most negative. Oh no,
Mm,
that's not gonna work. Oh no, you need to go work at a hospital because you paid 50K on a bachelor's degree.
mm-hmm,
And to be honest, I did get that bachelor's degree, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about. Like, I actually genuinely do love real estate. Like, what's not to love? Like, I get to be with my girls, generate the amount of money I generate. It's based on how much I work my butt off. It's not like, okay, I'm working my butt off for somebody else, making somebody else's dream come true, and I'm always gonna have a cap on
mm-hmm,
my income because what they give you, what, $1 raise, $5 raise every what, a year, 2 years?
mm-hmm.
No, because why am I gonna go work? My degree pays $50 an hour when I could be getting paid 10, 15, 20K a month.
Yep.
It makes no sense. And not just that, but everything mainly goes towards Uncle Sam, the IRS. So it's not even, once you do the math, once I actually sat down and did the math, I was like, what the hell? Because I'm like, bro, I just got paid. I paid the rent and I'm broke. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and then I would look at my check and look at the taxes that is getting deducted. And then whenever I would file my taxes, I wouldn't get anything back. And I'm like, what the hell? So
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy. That's why being a business owner, it's rough. But there's a lot of, that's one of the reasons I love multifamily. But you have tax deductions.
Mm-hmm.
So not everything's going towards freaking Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
They still, I am kind of like the crazy one in my family, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
I always been the crazy one. That's what I get labeled because I don't like like I said, I sold my first house and all that profit, it was close to, I'm not even kidding you, 90K. And most of that 90K went into investments, mastermind.
Nice. Oh my
And
God.
I'm about to sell another house soon, so that's going towards investments.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate. And one of the things is investing in yourself because I always had the imposter syndrome mentality. Have you ever experienced it? Because I have.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
for me, it's like I can't do this, because I come from lower middle class. My family has never done it. Why am I gonna be different? So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I have always struggled, but I just like my team. They help a lot. They really do help a lot because they push me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say like teams are everything. You need somebody like my mentor for tax deeds. I was at his office yesterday and I was like, holy shit. Oh, sorry, excuse the French. Um, I'm like, I've been thinking small because I was trying to wholesale smaller deals like lands and just he was like, and I showed him a deal that I was thinking about getting and walking with my contractor and he was like, get it. And I'm like, but did you see how much it is? And he was like, get it. And I was like, all right, I'll get it. So mentors and partners and just that's what pushes me to know that I'm thinking small, that I need to be thinking bigger, that I need to let's go and come on. And he was like, you better have this done by tomorrow whenever I talk to you. And I'm like, bro, like you're giving me no time. He's like, do it. Do it. You're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what kind of like gets me out of like my in spot shit, se me fue la palabra. Imposter syndrome. It's bad that I literally have people just let's go, let's go, let's go. Don't
Just
even think about it. Just do it.
nice.
Action, action, action. Because one thing that he tells me all the time, he's like, scare money don't make no money. And he repeats that to me. He's like, scare money don't make money, baby. He's like, let's go.
Oh, that's true. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and like Lars was saying, mindset is huge as well as your inner circle. That's yeah, that's I think that's a thing that I started doing as well. Like once I saw like I was like, okay, I'm gonna join this mentorship. It's like I don't give myself the time to fear to worry. It's just like, all right, do it. There's no time. And then I've even started trying to implement that now when like whenever fires emerge from whatever that happens, I'm like, okay, well, oh, there's a situation. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. There's this and this and this and this and this that I got to do. But I'm like, okay, well, now's not the time to worry as I'm doing it. It's like, let me just get it done. And now, or at least before, I started scheduling times to worry. So I'm like, okay, every day at 6 p.m. from 6 to 6:30, that's when I can worry about whatever needs to be worried about. Then after that, that's it.
I never thought about that. That's like me. Like I don't really. That's why they call me the crazy one in the family because I don't. If I want to do something, okay, pull the plug. Like I am GP on 63 units, but at first I'm like, damn, am I really gonna make that investment? But then I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I was blowing up my partner. I was like, yo, can I wire the money? Can I wire the money? And then he was like, chill, you got until tomorrow. I'm like, no, 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 let me wire you the money now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just you just gotta do it. Like if you think about it, you're never gonna do it. Like I have had people, and another thing about imposter syndrome. So I had to cut off a lot of people within
Mm-hmm.
my inner circle, um, because of that. It could be it was family, it was friends, that it hurt. Oh yeah, it hurt because they were like, oh, you can't do that. What do you mean you're buying apartments? We want money. How are you like I'm showing them the proof, like, hey, I'm flipping lands, like, and they would always have something negative to say, and it would get in my head, and then
Mm-hmm.
I would just keep thinking, damn, like I can't do that because so and so said this, like, who am I to be? So to get out of that, I love you, but you stay in your lane, I stay in my lane, and I cut them off because if you're not adding value into my life, I don't want you.
Yeah.
Because if you're adding stress, doubts, I don't want you. I want people that are gonna empower me, that we could help each other, that we could add value to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage you, if you guys are watching this, if you guys have that negative person near you, it's gonna hurt, but just cut them off because if they're not helping you grow, cut them off.
Yeah. And
That's
what's
the
interesting,
best advice.
I definitely agree. And what I learned as well, it's like, sometimes you even have people that are supporting you and they're saying, yeah, 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 you can totally do it. But they're so down and negative on themselves that it's kind of the same thing. Like it's not adding value because every time you're talking to them or around them, it starts, they just dwell so much that you start getting, you know, uh, pulled into that whirlpool of just negativity and you're like, oh my God. And then after a while, you just start feeling like, even though they say that they believe in you, you start doubting yourself because you're like, oh my God, well, you're just in this whole negativity space. Yeah.
And not just that, but sometimes it wouldn't even be about, it would also be about the comments. Like, oh, I'm
Mm,
broke. Well, if you're broke, let me help you make money. But then they're like, oh, no, that doesn't work. I'm like, what do you mean that doesn't work? Like,
no.
look. So that's also another thing. Like, I did went out once to drink, and
Mhm.
I felt so void. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt so void. I was like, what am I doing here? I was like, this is not my life anymore.
Mhm.
Mind you that if we sometimes we go out with the teams and we have a couple drinks, I am like fulfilled the whole time. I am happy. I am smiling. Because we're talking business. We're talking how can we better ourselves? How can we grow? Like, what are we doing that we're stuck? How can we fix it? How can we grow? Not just going drinking and just celebrating absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like, and then after the next day, I was like, I called that person. I was like, hey, I'm not going out no more. They were like, huh? I was like, I can't. Like, I honestly, I don't like how it made me feel. I just felt so void.
Mhm.
Rather than, whenever I go out with the team, it's like that energy. It makes you feel fulfilled because you're like, okay, like these people
Yeah.
want what's best for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that. It's you're working towards something, so you start feeling more fulfilled. And then not only that, like working towards some, because everybody could be working towards something, but you have that whole your why, your girls, your sister, why you're even doing all of this. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely makes sense. Oh my gosh. Last question, because I want you to go and hang out with your girls. But you
No,
said
you're okay.
that you are a GP. So what does that entail for anybody that, is getting into multifamily, whether they know or they don't know what a GP is? Let's say that they do, because it's pretty easy to look it up. Um, so like what exactly do you do? Do you do the asset management? Do you look over the financials? Do you like, what is it?
So we came into this deal as GPs, but we're all managing it together. So the cash flow empire. So our role is asset management.
Okay.
So Sergio handles that pretty much. He was actually on site yesterday, doing a visit. He's always there,
Mhm.
pretty much daily. Because since we acquired the asset, it was mainly, I would say, a month or so ago. So
Okay.
there's some renovations and stuff like that. So he's going, checking out the asset, making sure that everything gets done. As a GP, you are hands on. You're not a limited partner. So we are hands on. I help out with marketing. So like the pictures and stuff of when we did the grand opening and stuff like that. That's how I help out. Jonathan actually does the financials. So we pretty much all have our own individual roles.
Okay. So it's the same thing as in your own team, but you just put a building in there as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and we're not the only GPs within that deal. So everybody has their own roles. And there's groups like within the marketing group, there's like five of us, and then asset management. I know it's Sergio and Jeremiah. I don't remember who else. Sorry guys. And then, there's groups and there's five, six, seven of us within each group.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, because that was a team with many superpowers. Yeah, like what Jennifer is saying. Yeah, that was something that I had wondered a lot about going into multifamily when I first went into it, because I was thinking like, okay, well, how many people can you really have in the GP team? And then, okay, is it the same thing like one person for asset management? Because that's like how many units? Okay.
Ours is 63, so it's a lot of units, and some of them are getting renovated right now, and the
Oh,
renovation is like all at once.
wow.
Yeah, so the guys have to pretty much be on site, making sure that everything gets done and like that.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. And I know that
Thank you,
you're
thank you.
probably working hard. So whenever you're leasing it up, you're a part of that too, I'm assuming.
We haven't gotten to that yet.
Ah, dude, update me. Update me on how that all goes. I'd love
Oh,
to
I
learn
definitely
more.
will. And that's actually one of the things I wanted to. Well, I know I talked about teams, but because I joined a team, was
Mhm.
the how I got the opportunity to be a GP on 63 units within what two within 2 months.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, so yeah, they actually opened the opportunity for us within the team, and I was like, I had to jump on it. I was like, let's go, baby, let's go.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So anybody watching this, I mean, if you want to learn and understand how to get into multifamily, it seems like, I mean, Yoshi has experience in I don't even know how many things now, because that was just a lot that you start saying, the social media stuff, but then you also know about
The
kind of
taxis.
about tax deeds and all of that. So that's incredible. So please, yeah, where can people find you? Are you on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I am on face. No, sorry. Instagram, I believe is Yoshi with three eyes dot XO.
Yoshi.xo.
Or you could just follow the Cashflow Empire on Instagram. I handle everything from there. So
Perfect. And
if
it's
you
just
DM me, I'm the one that's gonna answer. So
fantastic. Okay, perfect. So Yoshi with the three eyes.xo or the Cashflow Empire on Instagram. Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Yoshi. I really, really I loved meeting you. I loved having you on. And I'm gonna love continuing talking with you and building this relationship/friendship because you're amazing and I really want to be friends with you.
you're amazing, and I love you. I love your vibe, our messages back and forth. I freaking love them. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will talk to you later. Thank you, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.